Joe man.
What's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm always doing great. Glad to get back
Awesome,
in the
man.
swing of things. You ready to
Feels
kick it
so
off?
good. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Woo, love it. Gets me going every single time.
Oh,
Joe
fires
man,
me
we
up.
are. Yeah, it does. We are on episode 14 of Socratic Sports. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, if this is your first time, don't thank that person that told you about us. And if you've watched this multiple times, please tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody about this podcast. But we are here today, like I said, episode 14, and we are previewing the NFC 2023-2024 season. So let's kick it off, Joe man. You had some. You say you had some interesting questions to bring about to me. So let's hear it.
Yes. So the big one, obviously, going over this episode and having the idea that we're breaking down the conferences, and we'll do the AFC tomorrow. I started thinking, and because of all the offseason moves, not just this year, but also last year, there was kind of starting to be this permeating feeling, and I kind of heard it around for a little bit. They don't talk about much more now, but I think it's going to kick up again when the season starts. But this idea that the AFC is kind of the juggernaut now in terms of conference, and the NFC is a lot like what the East in the NBA was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, that there's this overwhelming perception that it's a weak conference. The chances of the Super Bowl winner coming out of that conference is super low. It's more or less a 2 to 3 team conference. And I don't know. I honestly agree with it. And I think the NFC is kind of getting a little disrespected. But I kind of just wanted to hear your thoughts on it. If you even heard that kind of that take, and your thoughts on it. Just
yeah. I mean, I've very much heard that how the AFC is just. I mean, and it's true though, especially now that we'll talk about the AFC like you mentioned tomorrow. But I mean, just the return of Lamar Jackson and the upcoming of the Baltimore Ravens. Now you just add another top tier team right there. So yeah, I think that it is a juggernaut. But I'll stick with the NFC. I mean, if we talking, the big dogs, the top of the chain, the top tier teams up top. I mean, we're looking at the NFC Championship last year, 49ers versus Eagles. And then below that, I mean, we're going to go through each division, but I mean, if you take those two teams out of the discussion, the only other team, well, there were two teams that had double-digit wins last year, and that was the Cowboys and the Vikings. And so, other than that, I mean, there was no. I mean, teams were fighting to make the playoffs, to have a good record. And there are just no big names in the NFC right now. I mean, but we have, I think this season is going to be a good season. We have, Packers starting over with Jordan Love. Will the Lions be another good story this year?
I can't wait to talk about the Lions. I actually, once in my life, words I never thought I would say. I am actually very excited to talk about the Lions.
Same here. I am really excited to talk about them. But yeah, I mean, it's true. There's no denying it. I think we are going to see either the Niners or the Eagles in the championship game this year. And I know we're this is a 3-part series where today we do the NFC, then we're going to do the AFC, and then we're going to make our predictions in the third episode. But I'm gonna tell you this right now, Joseph. That third episode is either gonna be the Niners or the Eagles. It's like there's no, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna beat around the bush and like, oh guys, wait until the third episode for a surprise. Like there isn't one, And then again, I'm so excited to talk about the AFC. I really am, because I'm gonna take. This is just a quick preview right now, Joseph. But I am all in on the Jets. I am seriously all in on the Jets. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna come back to that next episode. Okay. But I am all in on the Jets. But see, that's what I'm saying. The AFC has that excitement. There is nothing like that in the NFC right now.
So, I agree with you, and I'll spin the question a different way now, and kind of my viewpoint of it is, I think personally, if people actually sat down and thought about it, I don't think the NFC is a weaker conference. I think what people look at is the AFC has the star power, and they have the star power at the most important position at quarterback. And that, I can't argue that. That's the truth. Like, I was looking through divisions, obvious. I mean, I know who's in each division, but I was just going through them again, prepping for these episodes. And in one division in the AFC, you have Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Josh Allen. And then you go to the NFC, and you go to a division like the NFC South. Again, no disrespect to any quarterbacks, and I'm excited to see what Bryce Young can do. But that division, your starting quarterbacks are Bryce Young, Desmond Ridder, Derek Carr, and Tampa doesn't even know who their starting quarterback is yet. So for that, I understand. I get it. The AFC is the cream of the crop. Aaron going to the Jets didn't help. But I urge people to think about, when you're thinking about who's the better division, don't just focus on the quarterbacks. And to that point, because I got even more interested, is there any substance to the AFC being the better conference? If you just take last season, because I went with last season, because if you extrapolate over many, many years, so many different players, I don't think it's a fair comparison. Last year, the NFC went 41-39 against the AFC. They had the better record. It was close, but they did have the better record overall against the AFCs. So when you look at who's the better division, I mean, I understand the Super Bowl champion came out of the AFC, but the NFC did have the better record. So I thought that was interesting.
That's a really good stat right there. I wouldn't even guess that, honestly. That was even surprising. But I would like to go back real fast on how, when you talked about the AFC East real quick, you didn't mention Mac Jones. I'm just putting it out there.
Do you know? So do you know why I said that, honestly, Carlos? Because I felt like if I mentioned Mac Jones and put him in the same breath as Rodgers, Allen, and Tua, you would have given me one of these. Mac Jones, really? Yeah, the same way you look at me every time I talk about my future best friend, Justin.
Yeah, but Justin.
That is for tomorrow.
Yes, the number
Justin
one
Herbert.
Paid quarterback in the league right now. Oh man, I want to talk about that tomorrow. I really do.
Have more motivation to become his best friend now.
It's so funny. All right, well, let's kick it off, man. Let's start with the NFC East. Is that okay?
Oh, it's always okay to start there.
We're starting with your boys. So let's start with your boys. Actually, the Eagles. I mean, first question for me is, will we see a repeat of last year? I mean, I looked over their schedule. Guys have a pretty easy schedule. You guys made some, I mean, honestly, it wasn't like, you guys like went backwards by any means. I mean, you paid Jalen Hurts. You signed DeAndre Swift. Your defense got better, probably. I just don't. I mean, you guys got Marcus Mariota as a backup because that's what's much needed.
Listen, I mean,
but
of backup quarterbacks, I mean, he's probably in the upper echelon.
Yeah, that's what I like. I wasn't trying to be like, you guys got to, just in case, if he needed a rest, you guys got, if he get like a little ankle injury or something like that, you have Marcus to pick you guys up. So, I don't see any, Cowboys and Giants, will we see a repeat of next year? As far as them, all three of them being in the playoffs, who knows? But your boys last year went 14-3. I see them probably doing that, maybe 13-4, but yeah, you guys got better. I don't know how, but you guys got better.
I know. Yeah, 100% agree. Not necessarily with the record, in terms of what to expect, because even 13-4, that's a tough record. And the only reason I say that is now that they saw what Jalen's capable of, I think game plans are going to start focusing a lot more on him and limiting what he can do, just from his playmaking ability. But yeah, I mean, offense pretty much stays intact. We still have AJ Brown. We still have Devontae Smith. Went out and got DeAndre Swift, which I loved. I thought it was a great pickup.
Yeah, that was a great trade, dude.
Pretty much drafted every Georgia Bulldog you could find. So it's like, needs to be Eagles in parentheses Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad about that because for years, and this was more during the Chip Kelly era, but I know a lot of people like to forget about, the team had this weird obsession with taking Pac-12 players, which, by the way, is days away from no longer even being a power conference.
Pac-12, yeah.
So it tells you a lot about the Pac-12. And I didn't get it. I was like, why are we taking these Pac-12 players? Like, Pac-12 teams don't do anything. They usually have the worst bowl records. Why aren't we going after SEC guys? Why aren't we going after the Alabama guys, the LSU guys, the Georgia guys? And all of a sudden, with the past like 2, almost 3 years, that's all they take now. So, yeah, I am very pleased with that. Listen, the big question mark with my Birds, you lose the OC, you lose the DC. They're both head coaches now. Does that make a difference? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I don't know. I gotta look that up. They're young guys. Both DCs are pretty young. But yeah, so for me, those are the biggest question marks with my Birds. I think Jalen is going to be solid. I think he'll be in the MVP discussion again, assuming he stays healthy. But yeah, and then DeAndre Swift, again, love it. He also needs to stay healthy, though. I know he has some injury history, but I mean, I don't know many running backs that don't.
Yeah.
So we got Brian Johnson is our OC, and then Sean Desai is our DC. Which I like the Sean pickup because he was the DC for the Bears a couple of years ago, where the Bears started having a really elite defenses. He really got the most out of Khalil Mack and all that.
So. Yeah, hey, you if you could coach Khalil Mack, you can coach anybody. I can tell you that much. And then go over to the Giants. Re-signed Daniel Jones, got Saquon. They signed Dexter Lawrence. And so their defense they made some great moves on defense. Honestly, I think the biggest sign for that team was it wasn't even a sign, it was a trade with Darren Waller from the Raiders. Because Daniel Jones is a runner, not a really deep pass route thrower, but I think that run or that pass to Darren to Waller will definitely help with the deep pass. And Saquon being back and not worrying about his contract, I think the Giants, this is my prediction. I think the Giants will have a better record than the Cowboys this season. I think we're looking at Eagles 1 and Giants 2.
I think
That's
that's a
what.
hot take.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's a
that's
hot
what
take.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with this year. The Cowboys, dude. I mean, yeah, they were what 12-5 last season. I the Cowboys will always be the Cowboys. I mean, they didn't do much in the off season besides getting Stephen Gilmore. That was a pretty good pickup, a trade from the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got Pollard back. Who knows his status though, as far as him being where he was last year after that injury. Yeah, but that's about it. I mean, we're bringing back just about the same squad, which is fine. But I mean, this is the same squad. I mean, do we? Is it to the point where? And here's another hot take: if Dak is having a mid season, and I mean like he's saying I'm throwing less than 10 interceptions, and if he's at 7 or 8 by week 6, do we look at Cooper Rush coming back in here and trying to, do something? And this is the end of an era for um, uh, Dak in Dallas, where they look to ship him off during the season and restart, but in the draft or getting something valuable for him or something like that. Is this the end of Mike McCarthy? If again, this is all coming from if they have a mid season, because for me the spotlight is on the Cowboys. I know their defense is good. Their defense was great last season. I mean, you're talking a top 5 defense. And I would say we talked about earlier when we started the show about and I know I'm going off real fast, but I just want to say this. We started off the show talking about like how the AFC is dominant, right? With the star power of the quarterbacks, which I get. But the NFC, and I think, and now that I'm thinking about this now, that record that you've seen from the NFC with the NFC dominating the AFC comes from defense. I mean, in the top 5 defense, you got Philly, Cowboys, and 49ers. Those are the top defenses. And so the Cowboys defense is good. I think the Cowboys defense can stand up to anybody. The problem is, can that offense score? And if the defense does give up, can the Cowboys offense stay in the game and help the defense out? That's my biggest question with the Cowboys.
Yeah, and just going on that defense point, it's interesting with the NFC. It's almost kind of opposite. So where they don't have the star power, I'll just say in quarterback, I still think the NFC has star power in the offensive. I mean, you still got Christian McCaffrey's in the NFC.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is still there. Really good receivers in the NFC. But they have the star defensive players. Aaron Donald is NFC. As much as I dislike the Cowboys, Micah Parsons is a stud. Yep. He's in the NFC.
Yep.
Your boy, Nick Bosa.
Trent. No, I'm sorry, that's offense. I got excited. Talk about my boys.
Yeah, I mean the NFC. They have. I mean, Tampa has really good Devin White. So I mean, they definitely have the star power. Again, they're not lacking in star power. Really, everywhere except the quarterback position. It's just, quarterback position is arguably the most coveted position in sports. So that's the one that gets the most attention. And again, I think that's why you start to see this permeating thought of, oh, the AFC is just going to run everybody over.
Yeah.
But going back to the NFC East, so here's my thing with the Giants, and this will always be my thing with the Giants until I see him win consistently. I'm not a Jones fan. To me, he's just Eli 2.0, and even a little worse, because I mean, Eli did win Super Bowls. My biggest issue with Daniel is you don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the guy who goes out in Minnesota and in his first playoff game plays lights out? Or are you going to get the guy who shows up the next week and can't really get things going?
But it was against the Eagles, dude. I mean, you can't compare those two. I'm sorry. You can.
So I get it, but the way I see it is like Daniel Jones was taken, was it fifth overall in 2019? He was a first round draft pick. He was the first. He was. I think he was definitely the second quarterback taken because Murray was taken one. I mean, you take a guy because the expectation is he can win games like that. There's nothing unique about Jones. I don't think there's anything special about him. He had a losing record in college. I don't know. I don't get Daniel Jones. To me, I think it's going to come down to I think Barkley's going to have to carry the team again. Most games. I'm sure there's a couple games where Jones is going to play lights out. I don't know. I don't see them matching up with the Cowboys or the Eagles. I can't. As much as I hate the Cowboys, for some reason, they tend to excel in the regular season. So,
yeah, Jones was picked 6 in round 1 in the 2019 draft. But I understand what you're saying. I get it. Again, I just think Brian DeBall gets more out of his players than Mike McCarthy does, and that's what I'm rolling with. I think this contract signing, bringing Saquon back.
I agree with you. So Mike McCarthy, I think if they do anything, honestly, I think if they do anything less than make it to the Super Bowl, I think Mike McCarthy's gone. I think they would get rid of McCarthy before Dak.
Yeah,
but sorry, go ahead.
I can see that. Yeah, no, that's fine. And then we get ended with the Redskins. Honestly, I don't know
Commanders.
Where to go with the Redskins. I think it's one of those situations where if they start off bad, Ron Rivera is gone. Sam Howell, their quarterback over there. From what I saw on him, I mean, they say he's a great talent, has a great arm. Came from North Carolina. This would be his second year, I think. They did sign oh my God, what's his name? Brissett, I want to say.
Okay. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know they signed Jacoby
I think
Brissett.
They signed Brissett, and so I could look it up real fast. Yes, they signed Jacoby Brissett to a 1-year deal. So yeah, if Sam Howell doesn't do well, then they have Brissett as a backup. But again, there's nothing. New ownership, everything is changing with the Commanders. So I don't see this being anything. Definitely last in division for me. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to really go over. Just to watch them this season. Yeah,
I mean, they have Eric. The big thing with the Commanders, and the reason I think they'll get more headlines than usual this year. Obviously, new ownership, but Eric Bieniemy. Again, Eric Bieniemy, amazing. I still don't really understand how he's not a head coach yet, unless maybe he just doesn't want to be. I don't know. But I like how I watched them at UNC. They have decent receivers. Like the receiver, like Jahan Dotson, I think is a great receiver. He was great at Penn State. They have an Ohio State receiver, Terry McLaurin is still there. I like him a lot. They don't have much of a running game. Their defense is okay. Win young plays, but even that's been.
I was about to. If Washington is horrible / mid to begin the season, Young is gone, and he's going to be traded. Yeah, he's going to be traded. I don't know where, depending on who needs it. He's definitely, I think, for somebody like him, a contender is going to be looking at him to rent him out for this year. But that is another hot take, is that I think that for sure, if they having a horrible season, Young will be on the trade block, and that's how they're going to get their rebuild going into 2024. So I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to the NFC North, and we will start with the Lions.
Oh man.
Go ahead, bro. You go ahead. You look very excited about this.
I feel bad. Like, it's not even like I like the Lions. It's I can't say I hate them, because I mean, how do you hate a team that just loses all the time and in some of the worst ways? Oh boy, this is a different Lions team.
Yeah.
I love what they are doing. I think that win against Green Bay to keep them out of the playoffs is going to be a huge jump starter for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jared Goff, even though I don't think he's elite at all, I think he's going to do enough. Yeah, they have Penei Sewell. They have one of the best left tackles in the game. I don't know. This is one of those things. I can't give you a lot of stats. I can't give you a lot of information. I just have this feeling about the Lions this year. And it's not just me. So, when I was doing my research about the AFC overpowering NFC, that kind of stuff, I was curious to see how other people felt about it. So, naturally, I thought a good place to start would be Super Bowl odds.
Mm-hmm.
So the top 10 teams, 6 of them are AFC, 4 of them are NFC. So not as big of advice as I thought. I expected like an 8-2-7-3 AFC. But guess what team is in the top 10 for Super Bowl odds?
The Lions?
The Detroit Lions. They are one. They're 9. Right now they have the 9th best Super Bowl odds.
Who rounds out 10?
Miami. Miami's 10.
Oh.
And this is just a website I found. I'm sure other sports books probably do differently. I imagine it's going to be pretty similar. Like, you got Kansas City on top, obviously.
Of course.
Then Philly.
Bengals. Bengals.
So Philly's 2, yeah. Bengals actually don't come in until 5. They're after your boys. So your boys are 4.
Okay.
Bills at 3. Then the Cowboys are after the Bengals. I don't get that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
And then Jets, Ravens, Lions, and Dolphins. But the Detroit Lions, man, I don't know. And obviously it helps that I don't see a lot going on in the NFC North this year. Like, I hope Jordan Love is good. I don't have a lot of faith in the Packers.
You ready for a hot take?
Yeah, always.
The Lions win that division.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you my record. I'll give you what I think of next, when we do the full-on predictions. Again, I don't think the Packers are going to do much.
No.
I like the Bears. I like Fields. I still think they're about a year away. And the Vikings, the Vikings to me feel like they missed their window. Like, their window was like the past about 3, pretty much ever since they got Cousins, and the way they exited the playoffs last year, I don't see it.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the show Quarterbacks on Netflix. It followed so it was really good. It followed Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, and it followed Kirk Cousins, and just watching him throughout the year, them going 13-4 and having such a good record, but losing to the Giants in the first game of the playoffs. But again, I love my hot takes. Are we at the point with the Vikings? And wait, before I do that, I'm in on the Lions. Let me go back to there real quick. And again, I think they did a great job of signing this. They upped their defense a lot with these signings, with Emmanuel Mosley and Cameron Sutton at cornerback. They got a David Montgomery from the Bears as a running back to help with to help with oh my god, I'm catching a brain fart.
They took the Alabama running back too.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah.
Yep.
They drafted Jack Campbell.
They are going to be
together.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the Lions are going to be. I think they won the division, man. So yeah, I'm with that. But going back to the talking about the Vikings, like I started off with, are we at the point? And you can answer this if you think I'm just crazy. Excuse me, but are we at the point where if Kirk Cousins have a mid-season, do we do they put him on the trading block? Because again, the ceiling to win in the NFL especially is always right now. Like there's no, oh, let's wait, and we'll get to the Bears in a little bit, but I'm telling you, Justin Fields, if he doesn't play well this year, I don't like. Again, start over for the Bears. I just don't. I think we've given him Fields, a pretty good amount of chances to show what he's got. And the Bear, I mean, when he came in, the Bears were okay, and now they've gone down a little bit, but still, like how long do we wait? Well, how long does Bear fans wait for this? Same with the Vikings. I mean, you have the top wide receiver in the league.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do you as a Vikings fan, are they willing to just wait it out with Kirk Cousins? Now, again, watching that show, like I have the utmost respect for Kirk Cousins. I mean, dude, that show, I'm telling you, if you go watch it, like when you hear the hits and seeing him, getting hurt and all the quarterbacks, like what they go through, dude, you get the most respect out of them. And I do for Kirk Cousins, like the way that he handled himself and how he was such a leader and stuff like that. Dude, I got the most respect for Kirk Cousins, right? But, again, it's like the oh my God, what is his name? Drew Bledsoe effect.
Yeah.
That when he got hurt and then Tom Brady come out and Drew Bledsoe never came back, It's just like, again, like I'm not saying Kirk Cousins will get hurt by any means, anything like that. But what I'm saying is, if he doesn't play well, like, do you guys try to get somebody in there who can match up with? Because there's a difference between, especially in age, between him and Justin Jefferson, and it's going to be Kirk Cousins' time soon. I think he's at that peak. But do you wait out the season and see what happens next season, sort of thing? So, again, I gained a lot of respect for him, but the time is now for the Minnesota Vikings, especially what's going on. We're all in on the Lions without a doubt, right? But if you take away, if we wasn't in on the Lions and we had to do with the Packers and the Bears, I'm taking the Vikings all day.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, but the fact that we are on Lions and, will Justin Fields show up or will Jordan Love show up? Where does that put the Vikings? And so, yeah, I don't know if you agree with that as far as like, what do we do with Kirk Cousins sort of thing?
Yeah. I'm not opposed to the idea of trading Kirk Cousins. I think the bigger issue you're going to run into is who's taking him and who's taking him mid-season. Because like when you hit mid-season, you basically know who your winners and who kind of not throwing in the towel, but doesn't see this season playing out the way they need to. And a lot of times you're a winner in the NFL 9 times out of 10 because you're getting really good quarterback play.
Yeah.
So unless there's a catastrophic injury, you probably don't need to trade for a quarterback mid-season. So I think they would have a hard time
or just
shipping him off
mid-season.
Know. They could try benching him. I don't know who their backup is in Minnesota. Yeah, I think they just play this season out with him.
Yeah,
and then go from there.
Okay. Yeah. And then again, we talk about the Bears. What do you? I mean, again, we're gonna talk about schedules and stuff like that in the third 3 part of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I overlooked their schedule briefly. They have a pretty solid, easy schedule. Like they can make some noise. The thing is, can Phil stay healthy from running out of the pocket? Can he use his arm? Another thing, who is he throwing it to, sort of thing? Does he have to do everything on his own? Can if you put everything on that kid's shoulder? I don't know. That's my thing.
Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. The only thing I think we differ, I like Fields a lot. I think he's very good. I do think he's a special talent. He had no protection last year.
Yeah.
If he could even just get 50% of the protection he got last year, I think you see a couple of those losses turn into wins. Do I think they win the division? But I think they're going to be competitive. So
yeah. I mean, I see they signed Nate Davis. I'm not too familiar with him, but he's a offensive guard. I did forget about DJ Moore. He does have that as a weapon to throw to. Was not not bad, but and then last but not least, the Packers post Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. They didn't do anything at all this offseason. Like there was no news about the Packers. So I think so. And again, I was just looking to see what like exactly, what's next for the Packers sort of thing. But I'm taking this as 2023 as a rebuild season, as far as, hey, play with what we got. If we do horrible, then we get a good draft pick. And then maybe draft the next best quarterback. But if we do great, then okay, maybe Love is, if we could get some weapons around him, then maybe we can, do something for him and help him out, kind of thing. But in my opinion, I think Love spent too much time as a backup to Aaron Rodgers. I think that was him being a backup for Aaron Rodgers made him just that, a backup. Again, we got to see him play a whole season, see how he looks. But I wouldn't be surprised if, from what we see, it's just a mid to season from him.
Yeah, I don't expect anything from the Packers, and I'll be honest, I don't think the Packers. I don't think they know what to expect. I really don't think anybody knows what to expect from the Packers this year. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen the Packers without Rodgers, without Favre. So really, it's been a long time since we've seen the Packers without a proven quarterback. I don't think anybody. I mean, it's anybody's toss up here. I think we're going to find out very soon. I think by the end of September, we'll have a good idea who the Packers are. But
yeah,
I don't know. Right now. I don't expect much from them. So
yeah, same here. Same here. All right, let's move on to the, for me, probably the worst division in the entire organization of the NFL. NFC South. Last year, not one team over 500. Do we see a repeat of that? We'll start with the Falcons with Riddler as their quarterback. Again, I don't know what to expect from the Falcons. I really don't. I mean, if you have some talking points about the Falcons, you go right ahead.
I'm so glad you said what you said about the division. So this, believe it or not, is the division in the NFC that I am the most excited for.
Really?
Because, like, kind of like you, I think a lot of people think like you, and I think a lot of people are expecting this to be the dumpster fire division. Every year you have that division where a team wins with either a losing record or like a 9-8 record, like something just crazy low. I think that's everybody expects this division to be like that this year. I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think.
Okay.
I think this division will surprise people. So like a good example of this would be Atlanta. So the team we started with. I thought Atlanta was going to be trash last year. Like I thought they were going to be in the running for the top pick. I did not expect a lot from Atlanta. I picked them to finish last in the division. Now they weren't great, but they were way more competitive than I expected.
They were 7-10,
yeah. But also they were in most of their games. Like a lot of their games were blowouts.
There's a few fumbles and all that, like last minute things. Last minute catch in against Carolina. Yep.
So I like Ritter. I thought he was good at Cincinnati. I thought he flew under the radar for a long time because he played for the University of Cincinnati. I'm excited for the Falcons. I mean, they have Bijan Robinson, who every year
their offensive line.
Yeah, but every year you have that rookie running back that puts up real impressive numbers. in his rookie season. So like Zeke, Saquon.
Yeah.
Even Josh Jacobs, to a certain extent, his rookie year, he put up some nice numbers. McCaffrey. I think Bijan's going to be that guy this year. Andy can catch. I think the Falcons are going to surprise a lot of people. Interested to see what Derek Carr does with the Saints.
Yes.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add about the Falcons?
No. I mean, no, you're good. I mean, I think the one thing that I did see is that if what's his last name? Riddler?
It's
Ridley?
Ritter. So it's Ritter.
Okay, Ritter.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Desmond
so
Ritter.
Okay, yeah. So the only interesting thing I say is his backup is Taylor Heineke, who played for Washington. So I mean, if that doesn't go well, then they have him. Then again, I mentioned their offensive line got really good actually.
Yeah.
They signed a tackle and a guard. Got them for the long run. So yeah, I mean, yeah. I think everything you said
Drake
is spot on.
London's a good receiver too. I think the Falcons are going to surprise some people.
Yeah, and that's what I just don't know what the like. I just don't. The only reason I said that when I started off, I just don't know where to put them. Like I get it. It's tough.
Like I said,
this
I think
division
a lot of
is
people
tough.
think like you.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm so excited about this division.
Yeah, this is really tough. But so Derek Carr for the Saints. Yeah. I like that a lot for them. But who is he throwing to?
So Chris Olave had a solid rookie season. I know he didn't win the rookie offense player of the year. That went to Garrett Wilson. His Ohio State buddy. I think Chris Olave is legit. The big question mark is Michael Thomas. Can Michael Thomas?
Yes.
I don't think Michael Thomas has played a full season. I don't think he's played a full season maybe since 2020. It's been a while. I am actually very excited for Derek Carr this year because I don't mind Derek Carr. He seems like a good guy. But I feel like the question mark's always been, is he really talented and was just put in bad systems with not great players time and time again? Or is he just an average quarterback? Yeah. So I think this season's going to be big. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Derek Carr does. The Saints re-signed Cam Jordan to a big extension, so they're pretty much going to keep him his whole career. But again, like you said, I don't know what to expect.
Another hot take. If Vegas are in a crap hole mid-season, I think Carr and
Devontae Adams, the Saints.
Sorry.
You are talking about Vegas. Carr's not there anymore.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is, I think that if the Vegas have a horrible season, that Devontae Adams goes to the Saints and reunite with Carr, and then that spark up something with the Saints going somewhere. So another hot take.
Okay. You don't think the Jets are going to make a push for Adams?
No. Oh, we're going to talk about the Jets a lot tomorrow. Don't you worry about it, buddy. So we have the Saints. Yeah, I think, and I think their defense is really good too. The Saints, like I said, I think they're a top 10 defense. So I can see that. The Panthers, Bryce Young. I mean, what do you think about them?
So again, another reason why I mean, this is to me is an interesting division. This is the division that had the team with the number 1 pick. They took the quarterback, Bryce Young. So here is my thing about Alabama quarterbacks and Ohio State quarterbacks too. Also, I have a lot of trepidation, and I kind of hold off on my judgment on them because in my mind, was it that they were that talented, or was it because they were playing behind a 5-star offensive line with 5-star wide receivers at 5-star? Like, they had a plethora of talent around them in Alabama. Now, look, I'm not a football guru. I love it. I follow it. I'm not a big X and O guy. I'm pretty open about that.
Mm-hmm.
People that do that, they obviously saw something in him. They kept saying how talented it is. So we'll see. I hope he's successful.
Yeah.
His big thing, like Drew Brees and like Russell Wilson, is people knock him for his size.
Mm-hmm.
He is on the shorter side. So we'll see. My thing with him, though, is he's just one piece to the Panthers.
Yeah.
I think the
they
Panthers
didn't
have
do
a long road ahead in terms of rebuilding.
Yeah, and they didn't do a bad job last season as far as signings. I mean, they got your boy Miles Sanders as a running back. They got Hayden Hurst from Cincinnati. So yeah, they do have some weapons there that especially for a rookie to lighten the load a little bit. They signed Andy Dalton as a backup. Just in case, that rookie,
Red
hiccup
Rocket.
sort of thing and need to sit him down. So yeah, I mean, again, and then we're in with who I think is going to be last in this division is the Bucks. I don't, again, Mayfield after Brady, okay, this is what I'm gonna be. If Baker is is mid, is not doing well at the beginning of the season. And I don't even think they announced him as the starter because I think he's going against Kyle Trask, I think his name is. But if they do start with Baker and Baker has a mid-season, he's not doing too well, and Cal comes in, I think that's the end of Mayfield. I think if he stays in the league, he's just a backup somewhere. I think this is his last opportunity to actually shine. So yeah, I just don't. I mean, and again, besides that, for the Bucks, I mean, if you have something about the Bucks, I just don't.
Yeah. So kind of going along with what I've been saying about the division is, to me, that's another interesting storyline. Like I said, I think when you dig into the NFC South, there's a lot more going on with the division than like on the surface level. Because again, I think everybody assumes for it to be a terrible division. Maybe it ends up being it. But there is a lot of, you have the number 1 overall pick. You got Derek Carr starting over. Curious to see how Desmond does. And then you have Baker. And
So
I
Joe
totally
Man
agree with you. Yeah.
So Joe Man is saying right now that the NFC South is going to be better than what people think. I need to put this on record.
I will say, yes, I will say this. I think whoever wins the division they win it. They don't win it with a losing record. I think they win it with at least.
Okay. So
I think they win it with at least. I'll give you your time.
Joe
I'll
Man.
give you the record too.
There will be an over.
I know I'm going to stick my foot in my mouth here.
Team.
I'm already regretting.
It's written
this.
down. It's written down.
I think the winner wins with either an 11-5 or better record.
Really?
Yeah.
Woo.
I do.
Whoa. 11-5.
But finishing up on Baker, you 100% on board with you. This is it. Like, this is his last shot. It could be either a retribution story that he rises to it and he finally plays like the 2020 Baker and lives up to that number 1 hype. Or that's it. I think this is it for him. This is his last of his road.
Yeah. So I agree with that for sure. And last but not least,
of course it's not least. It's your boys.
NFC North. And we will start with my boys, who is coming out strong. So the one thing I do know is that there is a battle going on between Trey Lance and Purdy. What Purdy did last year, we start with Purdy. I think so. Ready for my hot take, Joseph?
I'm always ready for them.
Hot take right now. Either 1 or 2. So 3. I'm gonna predict 3 things. Okay. 1, Purdy will be in the MVP talks. 2, listen, wait, listen to me,
Okay.
listen to me.
I didn't say
anything. Two, wait, so no, I'm lying. I got 2 things. So yeah, Purdy will be in
Okay.
MVP talks. 2, Christian McCaffrey will either be in the MVP talks himself or comeback player of the year.
Okay. So number 2 is very reasonable.
Okay, all right, and that's, but those are my hot takes right there. I think.
Okay.
I think what we brought back the core of the Niners. Like there hasn't been much change. Just like the Eagles, you guys gotten much better, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've done some signings ourselves. Just people that just can back up and help out. But we have, like, there isn't something, if somebody goes down, I don't think we're in trouble, sort of thing. I think we have not only good starters, but I think we have really good backups. We signed Hargrove, a defensive tackle. We made our defense much better.
Yeah.
And so I think, again, top 5 defense, maybe number 2 behind the Eagles. I think, again, we're gonna go at it. The Eagles and the Niners again. But again, we didn't lose any core. I think we're gonna gel well together. I think McCaffrey, Kittle is the sort of like the 1-2 options, and then Purdy. And I'm not saying Purdy is winning the MVP because of his yardages. I think it's going to be because of his completion, his percentage completion.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be just his overall, like, how he manages the football game because of everything that's around him. From Ayuk to Debo, Jennings. I mean, I think we are going to be a powerhouse to be reckoned with, because, again, our defense got better, our offense stayed intact, and there's no reason to think otherwise. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is a mastermind. I think the only concern right now is again, I think the littlest thing is the kicker. I think we just need somebody that can come in here, because we don't have Robbie Gould anymore. And yes, I'm gonna take a little time talking about my boys because I'm biased. As you can see, I am just
totally
out with my boys right now. But I am I am all in. Just like I'm all in on the Jets, I am all in on my boys. Not because they're my boys and I'm biased. Just like I know you're all in on your boys, the Eagles. But I am all in on my Niners, and I would love to hear your take now.
So, I agree with everything except for the Purdy take. That is
you doing my list?
That is out there. I mean, that may be borderline blasphemous to like all other, not even quarterbacks, but players in the league. So obviously the talent, it's undeniable. I think pound for pound, you guys have the most offensive talent in the league. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a single team that has the most complete talent everywhere from receivers to tight end to running back to even the O-line.
Let me see some.
However, at the end of the day, the NFL is a quarterback-led league. And I don't know enough about Trey Lance. He's coming off a pretty bad ankle injury. Purdy's coming off a pretty bad elbow injury. I think it's going to take a little bit for you guys to get going. Like, I think you'll finish strong.
But starting.
But I think you're going to take the first half of the season to figure out what kind of team you're really going to be. I think it's interesting you guys up against the Steelers. I actually think that's one of the more interesting opening day games, which I'll talk about a little bit more tomorrow. But the Steelers is a big question mark team. And then you guys got the Rams the week after. So again, everything's there on paper. I am too nervous about the quarterback situation. Not knowing how Purdy's recovery is going, not knowing how Lance's recovery is going.
And
that gives me pause for concern. Is what I'll say about the Niners.
released the top 100 players.
Okay.
On that list of the top 100 players, can you guess how many Niners was on that list?
I'm gonna go with 6.
6?
Yeah.
8.
I was gonna say 9. 9 was my second guess. So, okay.
So
all right. So hold on, let me guess. So obviously McCaffrey, Kittle.
Yep.
Bosa.
Yep.
I think it's one of your O-line. You guys don't have Mike McGlinchey anymore, do you? Oh, do you still have what's the guy you got from Washington?
Trent Williams.
He's on there? Okay. That's 4. Is Deebo Samuel on there?
Deebo.
Okay. So I'm up to 5. Oh, your linebacker. Warner? Is it Warner? Fred Warner?
Okay. Fred Warner, yep.
Up to 6.
And so it's Warner's counterpart.
I should know his counterpart.
I
don't think I'm going to get the last 2. Dre Greenlaw, and then who's the
Dre Greenlaw, and then our safety, Hufanga.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So do you guys have the most on the top 100 list?
If I'm not mistaken, I do. I think we do. Okay. I can research that, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw that I said that.
I feel bad now. I don't want to be the rain on the parade guy, but do you know the team last year that had the most players on the top 100 list? It's the Chargers.
Really?
Going into the season, they had the most players that made the top 100 list. However, almost none of them stayed healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
Which that's always going to be the big question with football. Interesting. Well, I'm glad you shared that list. That's super interesting. I said, talent's there. There's no debate about that. I need to see more about who's playing at quarterback and how they do to feel more confident.
Yeah, we were the team that had the most. That had the top. We had 8. So yeah. Okay. So now rolling into the Seahawks.
Okay.
Geno. Can he do a repeat of last year? Geno, for me, I like Geno. I think he can. My only problem, and then they got Bobby Wagner back, which is a good look. My only issue from looking at their schedule is that their bye week is in week 5. And so that's an early.
That's pretty early.
Yeah, that's an early bye week,
be
which
like
I think
the first bye week.
Probably,
is that the first week teams are eligible for bye weeks? Jeez.
And so I thought it was week 4.
You might be right. It's 4 or 5.
And so, but anyway, I just think they have the potential to have a really good a year. I think that the bye week is going to hurt them, and I think that's going to make them have an okay year because I think they're just going to be exhausted playing, and even if they do play well, they're not going to go deep. Again, it's just playing from having a bye week in week 5 and then playing all those games after. That's tough. And so last year they were 9-8. They didn't make much moves again in the off season. But they didn't have much changes. Again, they signed Geno to a 3-year contract. They bought back Bobby Wagner. And so I think they are, their defense got a little better. But I think they're going to be okay. I don't think they're going to, again, make any big noise anywhere. But again, I think it's going to be one of those solid teams, I don't know if you feel the same way about that.
I actually disagree pretty vehemently with that. I think the Seahawks are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Now,
really?
So take that with a grain of salt. I also said that about them last year, and I ate my words. So, like you, I also like Gino. I thought it was a great story last year. He kind of feels like a one-hit wonder to me. They're in a tough division.
So out of the whole entire NFC, you think that the Seahawks are going to be the worst team in the NFC, or just in a division?
I'm not going to agree to that yet.
Oh, okay. That's what I was confused.
Going into
I was just trying to figure.
I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
really,
I think a lot went right for them last year. They won a lot of close games. Typically, historically, when you win close games, that's not a trend that follows you into the next season.
Yeah.
And I'm also biased. I really don't like Pete Carroll. So I never root for the Seahawks to do well.
Yeah. You think they're going to be worse than the Cardinals? Because they won't have Kyler Murray when they start the season. And for probably half the season, if I'm not mistaken, they won't have him.
Nah, I don't think they're going to be worse than the Cardinals, but I mean, the Cardinals, they're going to be bad. Like the Cardinals
I think they're
probably going to be in contention for the number 1 pick.
Yeah. So I think they're going to be bad.
The other thing I think that's going to kind of mess with the Seahawks, and they kind of sort of lucked out last year, is another team in the West that we haven't touched on yet. I think the Rams are going to be a lot better.
Really?
The Rams had a really down year last year, which in proxy helped the Seahawks. I think the Rams are going to be much better this year. And I'll give you my hot take. I think the Rams are going to be right there with the Niners in contention for the division title. I do. And I feel bad saying it to you because when you look at the Rams, and did you have anything else to say about the Seahawks before I?
No, I want to hear this. Please go for it.
So when you look at the Rams, almost everything bad thing that can happen to a Super Bowl winner the next year pretty much happened in the Rams. Cooper Kupp gets lost to an injury. Triple Crown winner the year before. Probably, I think, should have been the MVP. I'll always stand by that. I thought he should have won it over Aaron. It is what it is. Stafford gets injured. You know, they're running. They couldn't really figure out the running game. The running backs are getting injured. Just wasn't a lot going right for the Rams. I don't think that's going to happen again this year. I think Kupp will stay healthy the whole year. I think Stafford will have a good season, not a great season. I think it'll be a good season. He's another one of those quarterbacks that, again, when you think about, to kind of tie it back together about the stuff in the beginning about the AFC, I think he's a very good quarterback that gets overlooked. Like, he has won a Super Bowl, so, I mean, you could maybe make the argument that he's in that upper echelon. But so, like, to me, okay, so I'll go this way. I'll say this. To me, Stafford is the second best quarterback in the NFC. I think he's the second best. Okay, all right. So I understand your look. So I'm gonna throw it back to you then. Give me a quarterback that's not Jalen Hurts, that's in the NFC, that you would put above Matt Stafford.
That I would put above Matt Stafford now?
In the NFC, not the AFC.
In the NFC. Okay. Jared Goff. Kirk Cousins.
Oh my. That is you think
Brock
Jared
Purdy.
Goff. Oh,
yes.
Now you're just being biased. You think hold on. You think Jared Goff is better than Matthew Stafford?
Joseph, listen to me. 3 years ago?
Okay.
No. Now, yes. He is nowhere near. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I think we are past. I think honestly, we are past the era. I think Matthew Stafford he ate up all his talent and his Lions days. I don't think and then when he came to the Rams, that was peak. That was in peak Stafford, and I think that's it. I don't think he's
the Jared Goff one is interesting because let me spin it this way: Matthew Stafford came to the Rams and essentially had the same talent that Goff had the year before, and he took that team in the first year he was there and won a Super Bowl with them. So I don't know how you could say Goff's better than him because Goff had the same team.
Let me tell you,
and he couldn't get it done.
No, so it was like it. So let's look at it this way, right? Stafford left, right? Came to the Rams, and he was excited because he left a bad team and went to a good team. Goff went to a bad team, and the only way that, and the only direction that Goff could go was up. And has he not been doing that?
Yes, he has.
Thank you. He took a bad team and elevated them.
So, okay, I'm not saying Goff is bad. Goff is much better than I thought he would be, and I will eat it. I will eat my words with Goff because when Goff was drafted #1 overall in 2016, I was like, who is this kid? What are y'all thinking? This kid looks like he belongs on a surfboard in California. Like he probably like paints his toenails. Like the kid looks like he was made of glass. And he's done well at the Lions. He's not right now. He's not better. I don't see how you can say he's better than Stafford when Stafford won a Super Bowl with basically the exact same team that Jared Goff had. Now, Jared Goff got him to the Super Bowl, but he couldn't do anything offensively, and they lost. I don't know how you put Stafford or Goff above Stafford. Kirk Cousins?
But listen. Okay, Stafford. Okay, I'm glad you said that. Goff was drafted when?
2016, #1 overall, right before Carson Wentz.
When was Stafford drafted?
#1 overall, 2009. To the Lions. Keep that in mind.
2009. He's past peak. I don't think. Now, I give him this. I give him this. He does have one of the top wide receivers in the league in Cooper Kupp. I give Cooper Kupp make anybody look good, and so I give him that. And so that probably him and who was Van Jefferson?
Right? Van Jefferson. Yep.
So. I mean, he got some
Odell on that Super Bowl team too.
Yeah. So I mean, they have some weapons, right? And they still do. Can Cooper come back from the injury last year? Can Van Jefferson be a good number 2? But again, we like you talked about, earlier in the podcast about a good quarterback, a great quarterback does a lot for a team. Stafford, now I might eat my words like you say. I might be wrong, but from where I'm seeing it and from what I've seen, that was it was sort of like the Wolverine movie. You seen the last Wolverine movie where Hugh Jackman you never seen it, but I'm trying to find a good comparison where it's like that end of the that ending scene where you walk off into the spotlight and you don't know whether they lived or died or whatever like that, or when they walk into the dark, and you don't know what happened to him. I think that was Stafford. He won the Super Bowl and then he walked off into the darkness. I don't think I just don't see it. I think we are in a and you know what? I'm not saying he's bad by any means. It probably sounds like that, but we are in an era right now where the Joe Burrows, where the Patrick Mahomes, where the Jared Goffs, because again, I'm not saying Jared Goff is the end all be all, but what I'm saying is those younger, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, those younger guys are like taking over the league. Matthew Stafford isn't part of that conversation anymore for me right now. Again, if I eat my words, I will be the first one to tell you, Joseph, I eat my words about him, but I just don't see it, dude.
I mean, hey, I like it when we disagree.
One more thing.
Yeah.
And my hot take is that if two things that happen. if the Rams don't play up to expectations, like you even think, or if I don't know, I haven't even heard much about the Rams because I know they didn't do much in the offseason, but if they don't play up to expectations, I think Aaron Donald either finish out the season and this is his last season, or they send him somewhere to try to win the championship and get number 2. I just added the kindness of the hearts because if they're not on track to make the playoffs, that this dude is a one in a lifetime talent. Yeah. He can go somewhere else and win another championship. I can totally see that. I don't know where, but I can totally see that happening. And yeah, but I see them. That's the only thing that I see. I don't ever see Cooper Kupp leaving, or because again he can make any quarterback good. But I think last year is supposed to have been Donald's last season, but he came back.
So I totally agree with the Donald take. I think yes, if the Rams do not work up to expectations, of all the star players, I could see him being traded at midseason because with defensive players, I feel honestly every position other than quarterback, I feel like it's possible to trade midseason because you could find a place to insert them.
Right.
Yeah, like Aaron Donald, when you trade for him, he doesn't have to be an every down defensive end. Whereas a quarterback, he has to play pretty much every offensive snap, or it's not worth trading for him. So yeah, and he did flirt with retirement after winning the Super Bowl. There was also that talk about maybe Sean McVay steps away at
yes, I did
this
see
past
that
season. I get it. I don't know. I think the Rams are gonna have a bounce back year. And finally, to loop back, listen, I'm not saying Matt Stafford is an elite quarterback. And like I said, I think almost all the AFC quarterbacks, the majority of them are better than him. That's why my only point is in the NFC. And I think it more speaks to the lack of star power at quarterback that the NFC has. I think in all the NFC, I think Stafford is number 2. I think it's Jalen Hurts, and then it's Matt Stafford. I just...
Not Dak?
No. I would put Jared Goff. And I don't even like Jared Goff.
That's hilarious.
He's won a Super Bowl. He could turn on when he needs to.
Hey, that is a hot take, dude. I love it. All right, well, we shall see. All right, man. Well, that is the. Oh well, we didn't. The Cards. We
Arizona.
Both think
is there much? Yeah.
Nothing really to talk about.
The only interesting thing I think about the Cardinals is I'm interested to see what happens with Kyler. That's about it. I don't. They got a new coach. Kyler's coming off the ACL injury. I don't even know when the plans are for him. I don't know when he's supposed to start during the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right now, if I had to take a guess at who the number 1 pick in the draft will be, I'd probably say the Cardinals.
Cards? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even if you include AFC teams, they're in a tough division.
Yes. Definitely last in that division.
Like you said, they're going to start without their quarterback for probably at least the first half of the season. There's just a lot of drama around them. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
True. All right. Well, that wraps up the NFC. Tomorrow we will be talking about the AFC. Take a hot take on that. Huh?
So that's theoretically the heavyweights tomorrow.
Yeah. No, definitely. I'm excited.
Heavy.
I am. It's been not a long time, but it's been the AFC is a lot of fun to talk about, and so I think we're gonna have a lot to unravel.
It's always fun to talk about the star quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have a lot to unravel. So Joe, man, it's been fun as always. You want to get us out of here?
Yeah, of course. Let's rock and roll.
Do it. Hey, see y'all guys tomorrow.
Peace.